Hey, what's up, everyone? This is the episode 2 of Fletched and Loaded podcast. Pretty stoked to be able to have Josh Williams added on to the show. And yeah, episode 2. So I'm pretty stoked. What's up, Josh? How you doing, man?
What's going on, Tony? I'm doing really good, man. Thanks for having me.
Heck yeah, dude. And you're going to be a part of this for a while anyways, so if you want to.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Cool, buddy. Well, I already gave like a little bit of intro to who I was on episode 1, which we'll talk about some other stuff as well. But yeah, what's up with you? People don't know you. You know, people around the valley know you and stuff, but not a lot of people know who you are.
Well, hi guys. I'm Josh. I'm actually Josh Williams. You can find me on Facebook if you want, but we'll interlude to that later. I'm an Army vet. I spent 6 years in the service. I was stationed at Fort Drum. I was an infantry soldier, so you will hear some expletives come out of my mouth on a regular occasion. I'll try to keep it as mellow as I can, but I can't promise anything. That's just me. Exactly. I'm an archery nut, and I'm a gun fanatic. I love archery.
Oh, yeah?
I got into archery because I was actually tired of shooting guns there for 7 or 8 months after being deployed so many times, and I just needed to find a different way to kind of get my zen on, and archery is definitely that way.
Yeah, I've talked about that quite a few times that with other people that don't understand why people get so passionate about archery. It's just like, it's meditative. You know, you kind of get out of everything that's going on around your life and all that stuff. You have to focus on what's going on when you take that shot.
Right, yeah, you get into that focus point and everything else just kind of fades away and it's ambient noise and everything you're thinking about is like, hold the dot, hold the dot, hold the dot, hold the dot. And you don't care about anything else.
Whatever your mantra might be.
Yeah, exactly. Whatever your thought process is, you know, for me as a compound shooter, you know, I'm hold the dot, hold the dot, hold the dot, and waiting for that release to break. Whereas, you know, you shoot traditional. I don't know what you guys do, but you just make the arrow go where it's supposed to go some magic way.
Try not to move very much because you're holding all that back tension. There's no what is it, release at the end, the back end?
There's no back wall. Yeah.
Yeah, back wall. So yeah, no, it's more like focus. You know, don't move from where you're. It's a lot of attention spent on that one thing because I don't have a sight.
Right.
So I heard it this one way that was really explained well. A guy said, you know, if you're looking at a barn, you can see the barn door.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So if I'm looking at whatever I might be looking at, you know, like that board, I can see the magnet on that board. So if you can see something, you can probably see something at a smaller ratio on that.
Okay.
So when we as traditional archers aim, I've found the best way to focus is to find a little spot, you're looking for the X, of course. But
right.
Some of the targets we shoot, you can't see anything.
You can't see anything on it other than like brown or black.
Or just a crap ton of holes all over the place.
Because it's been shot 1,000 times.
So you might find that one little tiny white mark that's left that hasn't been shot, you know?
Right.
And you go, okay, I'm going to hit that one thing. And sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. But like you were saying, as a compound guy, at least you have something that you can focus on, which makes you guys extremely accurate.
Yeah, I mean, we have, you know, like everybody says the mantra, you know, aim small, miss small. I mean, that kind of works, but ideally when you're in, you know, full draw with a compound bow, you're only holding, you know, depending on the model, you're holding, you know, 6 to 10 pounds of weight back there. And if you're shooting a lighter poundage bow, of course you're holding less, but
yeah, that
you're not holding a whole lot. But, you know, having that arm stretched out there at a distance and a little bitty dot or a little pin, you know, you're trying to keep it in that 10 ring the whole time. And it's a lot harder than it looks. People, you know, say, "Oh, it's got to be so easy because you're only holding so many pounds." But it's so technical. You know, a little bit left and your shot's off. A little bit right, your shot's off. If you're pulling too tight with your hand, I mean, we could go into all kinds of stuff over this.
Oh, it is.
It's extremely technical, just like, you know, traditional archery, and I would say even more so because we've added equipment to it that's not normal to archery.
Well, and it really hits with all the tech guys.
Yeah, and you know, you can spend $100,000 setting your bow up 62 different million times. And you never get it set till you find out you're just like, okay, I want to shoot it this way, and you set yourself to the best perfect you can get. And once you're there, you just kind of run with it and hope for the best.
Well, yeah, and especially, I mean, we've talked about, which I recommend to anyone that's listening, if they want to listen to an amazing archery podcast, it's Knock On by John Dudley.
Yeah, he's a fiend. I mean, he's an archery fiend, and there's no other word to use. He's incredible.
And, like, even talking about his paper tear test, you know, like tuning in with paper tears and stuff like that, which I mean, yeah, I've maybe heard 2-3 people. Maybe I'm off on that because I'm still kind of new to archery, but only a few people that shoot traditional stuff do paper tear tests.
It's
because we
huge
do knock left, knock right, knock high, low. But even that, he's so extremely technical. You got your fall away, or you got your lizard tongue, something. Okay, yeah, all these things I don't know about, but you know what I mean. But even listen to it, like I can at least take a little bit from it, some form stuff that he's shared. And
I mean, using paper to tune your arrows and tune your bow. I learned that from Eric Thomas. He's actually going to be one of our listeners.
What's up, Eric?
He owns Top of the Food Chain Archery. There you go, Eric. I gave you a little pump, dude. Out of
wait, that's his shop?
Yeah, Carthage, New York. It's Tofka, TOFCA, or Top of the Food Chain Archery. You guys can look him up.
Nice.
He's awesome. He's an awesome Army vet. Taught me almost everything I know about archery. But the biggest thing he starts with is he's like, paper tune your bow, tune your bow, paper tune your arrows, shaft tune your arrows, and learn what those tears are showing you. Those tears teach you everything about how you're shooting and how the arrow's flying and what you're doing right or what you're doing wrong. And not that every archer does something wrong or every archer does something right. Every shot's different until you can find that repeatability. There's a little plug for Elite. I hope you guys are listening. But repeatability is everything. If you can repeat the same shot 100,000 times, that's how you win tournaments, or that's how you win at a 3D shoot, or that's how you beat, your cousin when he comes over to shoot bow, and you're like, haha, sucks to be you, dude. I've
been practicing. What's up?
Yeah, exactly. But
so you like Elite is what you're saying.
I am an Elite
You're gonna
shooter.
name drop.
I'm going to
Elite,
name drop
so.
hardcore. I shoot an Energy 35. It's about 2.5. No, I guess it's about 3 years old now.
Okay.
I bought it, had it custom painted, did a cool.
No. Stop there. You have to specify for everyone.
Okay.
How many times did you have it painted?
Okay, so I started off and I wanted
dipped, right? Or was it actually painted?
It's both.
Okay.
So I wanted this bow to be like the most obnoxious green that you could find.
It is pretty obnoxious.
So I started with
see it in the dark.
Fluorescent green, and that was cool and all, but it was just too normal. And I'm like, nope, that doesn't work. So the lady who was painting my bow, I can't remember her name right now. Christy, I think is her name. She's painting it and she calls me and sends me a couple of pictures on my phone, and I'm like, yeah, that green's cool, but it's not obnoxious enough. And she's like, what do you mean? She's
Were those
like,
the words you said?
Yeah.
Not obnoxious enough.
I told her, I was like, if you can look at it for more than 5 minutes, then it's not obnoxious enough. And she's like, dear God, this guy's nuts.
It is true. You have to look away a few times.
Yeah.
It almost starts burning the retinas a little bit.
So we went with like a fluorescent green with a hint of white in it. So it's got just enough that it like kind of breaks up the shine, but it it's just an obnoxious green that just makes people look at me funny when I go to full draw. And then when they see me punching X's, they're like, oh, well,
okay.
At least he knows what he's doing.
Well, he's not just coloring his bow crazy.
But
you didn't just take Crayola pens to it.
No, definitely not.
Or whatever.
But then I had
Crayola
it dipped
makes.
in like a hard, like a barbed wire kind of black and grayish pattern to kind of break up some of that green, because it was a bit obnoxious even for myself.
Yeah, a little bit hard on the eyes to watch for a little bit.
But I
cool.
I shoot an Elite. I've shot them now for about 3 years. I owned a Diamond before that, which was just terrible, and I'm not going to go into too many details in this episode.
Yeah, we don't want to down any companies or anything.
No,
there's
it
people
wasn't
that
them.
love diamonds for sure.
Yeah,
so
it wasn't me. It wasn't them at all. The company's probably awesome, and the equipment was great. I'm just, I was a new shooter,
well.
and I didn't know enough about archery.
Okay.
So, and we'll get into that. We'll talk about first dry fires, and luckily you guys don't have to deal with that as much. But
many stories of stuff like that.
Oh God. But so yeah, Elite. Okay. That's the bow of choice, and then I like Vapor Trail strings. I can't say anything bad about Vapor Trails. They are fantastic. I know they're not what comes on Elite, so I'm just going to say that Elite, your guys' stuff rocks.
That's okay.
But I had to change to Vapor Trail because I wanted that cool custom neon green and black string.
Yeah, it's not like you did them bad. You bought their bow.
Yeah, exactly.
That's good.
And so then I also run CBE as my site. I love CBE. Their stuff is like bulletproof. I've beat it through the bushes 1,000 times, and that thing just does not ever miss a beat. I also shoot a QAD. Drop away rest. I know you guys traditional dudes don't shoot that
for a
stuff.
second there I was like, what the crap are you talking about?
Yeah, so I've got to
put arrow on string pull and release.
So yeah. I've got that, and then I'm running some Doinker stabilizers and some counterweights out the front. I've got like a 36-inch right now and a 15-inch back bar. Tony's looking at me like,
I know what stabilizers are at least. I told a story on the first podcast about how I smacked my 30-inch Fivix
Oh yeah, when you were
stabilizer
upstairs.
on the railing.
Yeah,
and
that was gnarly.
Not only scared the crap out of me, but it also made everyone downstairs think that maybe I blew up an arrow in my face or something like that. And then, of course, that was right before, we're not going to say the name, but a gentleman blew up his bow by dry firing. So, like you were mentioning before, it happens.
It does. It happens. And it happens at like the worst time when you're least expecting it and you're trying to focus as hard as you can. And all you want to do is shoot the X. And as you release it, you're like, oh my God, there wasn't an arrow. And then this loud noise happens and you start crying.
You're so focused on the fact that, okay, focus on that X.
Yep.
Focus on that.
Hold the dot.
Okay.
Hold the dot.
Pull through, back tension.
Exactly.
Oh, crap. There's nothing in there. You know, the biggest part of shooting an arrow. There's no arrow. So
exactly.
Cool.
And then the other thing is, you know, I shoot Black Eagle arrows. I love my Black Eagle Challengers. I shoot carnivores for my hunting arrow. I can't say
we call them tree trunks, right?
That's the Challengers. They're a 23/64
telephone
diameter.
poles you shoot.
They're lodgepole pines that I launch.
Well, you cut lines like crazy with them.
Right, exactly. And you know, for 3D shoots, that's what matters. You know, if you cut a 10 or you cut an X, there's a big difference. You know, X's win target or win tournaments. 10s, you know, a 10 in every target will win, but an X in every target's even better.
So people that don't know archery, what's cutting a line?
Cutting a line is where you have an X in the center of your very target. It's the smallest circle you're going to see on any archery target. And then as the lines progress out, they're different values. So then you go to a 10, then you go to an 8, and then, you know, a body shot would be a 5 if you're shooting on an animal.
That's for field or 3D.
Right,
yeah.
right. And then, you know, for like indoor, there's Vegas targets. There's indoor single spot, indoor 5 spot. There's all kinds of different stuff. And that's just, you know, depending on what you want to get into as an archer.
Yeah. Couple different styles. Some people just don't like shooting different elevations, and it's just not what they enjoy doing. So they do a lot more of like the Vegas style indoor stuff or long range shooting.
Yeah, field archery, you know, shooting World 90 Cup. Meters or some crazy number like that.
Or world archery, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, there's, you know, guys like Rio Wild, and that's all he's ever done is shoot like Olympic, you know, long distance stuff. And I look at 90 meters and I'm like, I don't want to shoot at that. And yet he does it and punches
yards.
the X. Yeah, it's insane. But
cool.
So yeah.
Very cool. Well, yeah, it's good to hear about what you shoot, what you like, and of course that may change over time. I mean, like listening to John Dudley, he shot for Matthews. I think I'm going to get it wrong, but like 8 to 10 years, and then from then he's been shooting.
Shooting for like
Hoyt. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's based on, of course, one of the most well-known bow brands, and I forgot. But yeah, he's been shooting for Hoyt forever, but he has no ill will towards Matthews. That's what I respect about the guy. He runs his podcast super neutral.
Absolutely.
You know, if he does talk bad about something, it's going to be maybe a design of something. So he doesn't
fit him, but not that it's faulty.
Yeah,
no, I gotcha.
So he'll, you know, talking about like broadheads or something. He likes shooting the 4-blade or whatever instead of the 2, or, you know, something like that. So he'll say that that's kind of something that does, but it's more like his own personal preference.
Right.
You know, he doesn't go like, that's going to be terrible for everyone.
Well, that's good. You know, I mean, that's the way it should be.
Yeah, it's more of like, that doesn't work for me, but if it works good for you guys, but just so you know, it might run heavy on the front end, blah, 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 whatever, you know, unless you're running a different grain.
Same thing. The guy that taught me archery shoots an Apex 7. It's made by Matthews. It's kind of not an older bow, but it's, you know, probably 5 or 7 years prior to whatever what I'm shooting now. And, you know, Eric goes out and he punches targets all day long, and he 10Xs or 10s like it's nobody's business. I tried it. I can't shoot an Apex to save my life. I've tried shooting every Matthews bow out there, and for some reason it just doesn't fit my hand. So that's, you know, I tried Hoyt, I tried Matthews, I tried Mission, I tried Diamond, I tried Bowtech, and finally I found an Elite, pulled that back, and I was just hooked.
Yeah.
So
I've heard a ton of people shoot Elite that love it. You know, they have no issue with it.
The funny thing, like, they have that shootability challenge, or like, hey, shoot one of our bows and tell us you don't love it. And I took it, I shot it, and I fell in love with it. I mean, truly, I did. You know, the back wall is insane. It's solid as can be, and there's nothing terrible in my opinion about the bow. I love it.
Yeah.
So
yeah, exactly. Well, cool. Well, if I'm gonna ask you about your archery stuff, I might as well ask you, because of the fact that it's fletched and loaded. Loaded is going to be the part of the podcast that's going to be more towards the firearm stuff. That's why Loaded is here, and he is Mr. Josh Williams. He's gonna kind of fill me in, and anyone else, of course, in that might be a little bit more on the ignorant side as far as firearms. Now I own a 9mm that you helped me pick out.
Yep, a Smith & Wesson M&P Shield.
and went right to the range after getting everything checked out and was clear to go, because of course we buy legally around here, and want to make sure that I got the hang of it, that I knew how to cycle, knew how to grip properly and fire it correctly.
Right.
And I enjoy it. I want more rounds through it.
Absolutely,
so
everybody wants more rounds through their guns.
I don't think there's one person that's like, nah, I think I'm done for now.
I've shot 12,000 rounds this month, and I'm fine.
Right?
No,
I
want
think
more.
So I gotta ask you first, what would be your preferable handgun?
Wow, this is gonna get.
I know it's gonna be a hard question.
It is,
but whatever.
Okay, we'll do it in like 3 sections. We'll talk about like what I keep at home for home defense, what I keep on my hip under concealed carry, and what I just like to shoot because it's fun.
Yeah, heck yeah.
If I'm target shooting, just going out with the boys and having fun, I really like Smith & Wesson. They're M&P models. They have interchangeable grips. The sights are fantastic. They're a great polymer frame semi-automatic pistol. They're fantastic. They'll fit anybody. Doesn't matter who it is or what it is, it will work. For me personally, I like shooting Glock. Glock has the most reliability, I think, on the market right now. You can fill it full of sand, you can fill it full of dirt, full of gravel, doesn't matter. It will shoot. So I carry a Glock 19 for my concealed carry, which I have a permit for, all legal.
So is the Glock 19 specifically a certain caliber?
Nope, the Glock 19 is just a model.
Okay.
So the way Glock kind of does their thing, and I hope that I don't offend anybody in this, is their models are caliber based. So like they have a full size, which is a Glock 17, which is a 9mm.
Okay.
They have a Glock 19, which is their compact, which is, a 9mm as well. And they have the Glock 43, which is their subcompact, which most people would use for concealed carry. But, I'm 6'2", almost 6'3", 280 pounds. I can carry pretty much anything and hide it, and nobody would know I have it.
Yeah.
So that's one of the benefits. But I'm a fan of FN. I'm a fan of H&K, Heckler & Koch. I'm a huge fan of Sig Sauer. I mean, the pistol I keep at home is my Sig P320 carry, another polymer frame pistol, but it's fantastic. Tritium night sights, holds 17 rounds. The thing is a tack driver. And, I keep it at the house. It's got a laser and light combo on it. And if somebody decides that they want to, enter my domicile without, previous permission, then, we can talk about it after it's all done.
Yeah. And you have some good training and all that with using handguns. I've seen you handle firearm.
I can shoot fairly well.
And you do it very, very efficiently.
Thanks.
That's
I appreciate
sure.
that.
And you've always been into modifying, trying to add, like your laser sights and
that's why they call me loaded. I'm just a gun nut.
Well, all right. So that's kind of your spectrum of handguns that you would really enjoy, or you do enjoy using, and or would like to purchase probably.
Yeah, I always want more. Everybody wants more guns, and I want Tony to get some of these as well, because we go out to the range and he shoots them and he loves them. So, if you're not an avid shooter,
spendy,
they're a little spendy, but they're worth every penny because
of course
they're like liquid assets. You can always liquidate them if you have to. But I would recommend it. But if you're not an avid shooter, or you have the availability to get out to a range and go be safe and go have fun and bring the kids. And firearms are not something that's something you should be afraid of. They're a tool. It's like a hammer or a drill or a saw.
Oh, watch it. We're getting into touchy.
No, I'm not trying to be controversial.
No, I'm just joking.
But
but it is in the country right now. It's pretty.
It's a huge debate.
Pretty touchy with a lot of people.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it should be. You should be able to have your own opinion on it. I mean, the biggest thing that I've seen with it, not to interrupt real quick, but is, especially people that grow up in the city area and stuff, they don't see a big need for firearms. They don't see, besides maybe a police officer or military personnel having a sidearm or something like that. But when we grow up out here, in the country, or, people would say, we just have a different type of relationship with a firearm.
Well, I mean, I grew up in the city. I grew up in New Orleans.
Yeah.
So I grew up where I wasn't technically in the city. I was in the suburbs outside. But, guns were something that, criminals used, and guns were something that police officers used. And it was, you had, my grandpa had one and my mom had one, and, they had one to protect the household. It wasn't like, let's go shoot guns because it's fun. But now that I'm out in more of a rural, kind of the backcountry here in Kalispell, Montana, I mean, we go out and we go shooting, and it's because we want to learn how to target practice. We want to learn how to hunt. We want to go have fun. It's not something that we're, trying to be controversial to the, to the media or anything like that. We're out to have a good time. And I've got AR-15s, and they're completely cool, custom modified, and they're a blast to shoot. You shot some of them.
Oh, yeah.
And I've got hunting rifles, and I've got shotguns, and, I was just talking to a friend of mine earlier today. He was asking me about Timony triggers, and, not to name drop, but hey, Timony, if you're listening, what's up?
What's up?
But, that's the trigger that I choose to shoot, and I love them. They're fantastic. And some people, they have their own opinions, and it's just the stuff that I have in mind. And that's probably the biggest thing that I'll reference is my own personal property that I've purchased and why I use them. And if people decide to, look into that, then cool. If they don't, by all means, make your own assessments. But get out, do some shooting, enjoy life. Life's too short to be all clustered over what, social media is saying, and just go out and have fun and shoot some guns. Yeah. But that's enough about guns. We'll get back to that later.
Well, we will talk about guns for sure. That's going to be a huge part of the show. And yeah, like Josh was saying, there's a correct way and an incorrect way to do pretty much everything. As I think it was Joe Rogan that was talking about, I listened to his podcast quite a bit, and he's great about addressing a lot of these issues as well. He plays devil's advocate, and he kind of sees both sides of the story. But like he said on a few of his podcasts, is like, someone can be addicted to cheeseburgers.
Yeah.
There's an incorrect way and a correct way. In moderation, there's
Absolutely.
a way to do everything. And I'm not saying that that's a way to, support any type of gun rights or anything by saying the whole cheeseburger thing. But the fact of the matter is there's a way that you can do it correctly.
Absolutely.
And
I'm an avid gym junkie, and people say, "Oh, you go to the gym way too much. You're always lifting way too much weight. You're, blah blah blah." And it's not about that. If you can find a reasoning and you can find a healthy way to enjoy any kind of tasking, whether it's shooting guns or lifting weights or shooting archery or washing the dishes, find a healthy way to stay about it. I don't see any reason to be in an uproar over it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, at some point it'll all get figured out, and I know that there's a lot of different opinions on it and stuff. But like you said, we're not gonna tote one line or the other. We're just gonna go ahead and tell you that we enjoy sporting, we enjoy shooting, we love archery, and
absolutely,
yeah. So I guess the next biggest thing that I was gonna ask you is, can I ask you what your position in the military was?
My job in the military, I started out. I was part of the 10th Mountain Division, which is stationed out of Fort Drum, New York. I enlisted as an infantry soldier. What that means is I'm a frontlinesman, a grunt, a boot pounder, dirt pounder, whatever you want to call it. I was the guy that you see slang, on, like Modern Warfare. That's what we did. If that's the most horrible, analogy that I can
bunch.
Yeah, exactly. We just
times.
don't get to respawn.
What?
But
dude, that's the biggest bummer.
Yeah, so I was an infantry soldier. I deployed to Afghanistan 2 times, and was down in the southern province, down in Kandahar, my first tour, and then I was up in the northern provinces, up in Logar province, which is kind of up in the mountains. Both of those times I was with the 10th Mountain. That was my only duty station. I was there about almost 6 years. Fantastic unit. I can't say anything bad about them. Of course, everybody has their ups and downs in the Army. I mean, I've talked to you before personally about, like, oh, God, today just was terrible, or, oh, this unit's just kicking my butt and it sucks. But I loved being in the service. I mean, I loved being in the Army. I got to have a little bit of fun. I got to deploy. I got to do the things that, every infantryman, if I can say that, wants to do, and they want to go to combat, and they want to, they want to be in a firefight, and they want to shoot back at the enemy. And, we're I don't want to say we're trained killers, because that's not the right term, but we are trained to do what we're taught to do. Yeah. And that's kind of,
and I believe that your position is for a specific occupation. It's not like you're going to learn a job maybe here in the States that you could also use for other types of positions.
Right, exactly.
The job of an infantryman, I believe, as far as I understand, it's very pinpoint accuracy to that specific job, whatever
that
it might
specific
be.
tasking,
that's a thing that a lot of people don't understand.
No, they think they hear an Army soldier and they're just like, oh, they're all the same thing across the board. Yeah. And there's not. I mean, there's like 50,000 different MOSs in the Army. That's military operating specialty. That's like what the job you hold is. There's cooks, there's tankers, there's truck drivers, there's supply, there's S1, which is like all of our paper stuff. I mean, there's communications, and I could go on for days about it. Yeah. I just happened to choose to go into the infantry. I got, I scored really well on my test when I took the ASVAB, and they said, hey, you have this list of jobs you can pick from. And it took me like 2 weeks to figure out what I really wanted to do. I knew what I wanted to do, but I had never sat down and like really thought about it and was like, I'm going to do this. And I remember when I told everybody, I was like, "Oh yeah, I enlisted in the infantry," and everybody was like, "Why? You're gonna
with all your options? That's what you chose.
You chose that." And I think it was the best decision for me. I made some great friends. I have some brothers that will be with me for the rest of my life, no matter what. I could call them right now, and they would be like, "Hey man, what do you need? I'm there. Let's do it."
Yeah.
So yeah, that was my job. I was an infantry soldier. I was a machine gunner, and then I was kind of a rifleman, if you want to call it that. And I made it to the rank of sergeant, and I just had great soldiers, man. I got really lucky.
Yeah.
I had great soldiers. They were super respectful. They always, were right on time, did what I asked them to do. And I think that like my leadership style and their subordinate style just worked really well together.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I did.
Cool. Well, yeah, I know that there's a few guys I think I see on Facebook that are always hitting you up and stuff, and it's really cool, especially knowing you as long as I have. Which, man,
we've been friends for like almost 12 years now.
I think it's about 12 years.
Yeah.
I was trying to think about it the other day.
Yeah, because I moved here in 2004, so
yeah,
and it's 16. Yeah, so 12 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, we didn't start off on the best friendship foot.
No,
so
well,
to speak.
I mean, we
did, but
then
there was controversy.
There was.
So, which was in the form of a lady, but we've really worked through that and became really good friends. So
yeah, it's weird. All three of us are actually really good friends. And
yeah,
it's kind of comical.
Which a lot of people kind of raise their eyes at and is like, really, dude, are you
Yeah.
serious? And it's like, no, there's we enjoyed the time that we had, and
Yeah, we're grown adults. There's no reason to.
well, maybe I don't know.
Yeah, it depends. If I'm at the range,
Some
I'm an
days.
adult. But if I'm at the archery range, I'm kind of like a
Yeah.
goofy kid.
Yeah, exactly. Well, cool. Well, had a few other things I was going to ask you I forgot about here. But what was? Yeah, we actually went out shooting today.
Yeah, it was beautiful out today. We went up to Lone Pine, which is our
mad respect for them.
Yeah, it's like our state park, is it?
Yeah.
Lone Pine State Park. There's a free archery range. So if you're in Kalispell, Montana, and you guys want to get into shooting archery and you already have equipment, like you can go there every single day of the week.
Yep.
There's no.
I think they close at like 8 at night.
Yeah, 8 or 9 o'clock
I mean,
at night.
it's gonna get dark by then, anyways.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really want to shoot there in the wintertime because it's colder than a well digger's ass in February.
I really have always been curious if they even have it open.
Yeah,
or if they put up stuff.
I don't think so. I think it's all open.
Man, that's gonna suck getting arrows out of that.
Yeah.
Well, it's compressed carpet.
Yeah, so it'll get wet and then it'll freeze and it'll be like a block of ice.
And then you're just
shooting
shooting
your
rocks
arrows.
every time.
Yeah.
But yeah, we did go up there and went up with the family. Got to backpack my 9-month-old now, and which is always crazy because you're trying to maintain back.
Olive.
Yeah, Oliver. He's a handful for sure. And but maintaining back tension and full draw and all this stuff with a kid on your back is crazy. And then he's rocking back and forth trying to play with his toys.
Yeah, I don't know how you do it, dude. That is impressive.
There's people that do it. I mean, I saw a guy up there that did, and I was like, man, we could probably do that,
right?
But yeah, then you guys met up with us, you and Chuck.
Yep, Chuck Williams. He's one of my close friends and also my work associate, and my gym associate as well. We kind of hang out together.
Do you want to drop your company?
I can. Yeah,
Talk
we
about
actually.
Or at least mention it.
Yeah, Chuck. It's actually Charles Williams. He's also on my Facebook. We'll link to that later on. But he's a machinist, probably the best machinist I've ever met. The guy is incredible. I mean, I've yet to give him a part and say, "Hey, make this," and he hasn't made it. And it was, I mean, within the tolerances I gave him. Within 3,000s, which is insane. So we started a company called Gruntworks. GRUNTWORX. Gruntworks. It's a fabrication and manufacturing company. We do everything from custom bumpers, anything to do with custom work on vehicles, handrails, structural steel. If it's got to do with metal, we can make it, and that's just kind of our mantra. Like we can make it. And we're two.
Don't
infantry.
worry about it. We'll make it.
Yeah, exactly. We're two infantrymen. He was in the Marine Corps as an infantry sergeant, and I was in the Army, so that's where we got Grunt from. And we like to work hard, and everything we make works. We've yet to have a product that we make that doesn't function as we originally planned it to. So Gruntworks is kind of born that way.
Just getting better and better at it too.
Yeah, absolutely. We're trying to, always innovate and stay above the bell curve, and we're going to see where it goes.
Heck yeah. But today being Father's Day,
yeah.
Were you told to bring him out?
I was.
Or did he say, "Dude, get me out of the house"?
No. His wife actually contacted me, and she's like, "Josh, Chuck's always in the house, when it's on the weekends, he's here with the kids and he's always, doing stuff around the house. And I want Father's Day to be something for him. So I know that you don't have kids. I'm single, don't have kids, not married. So I was like, yeah, what does he want to do? So talked to Chuck, and he was like, well, I'd like to shoot my bow, maybe go fishing or something. Mm-hmm. So we tried to line that up, and the fishing thing didn't kind of work out because the weather was kind of crummy yesterday, and we were like, all right, well, we're gonna bounce on fishing, but let's go up to Lone Pine and go shoot. Mm-hmm. So stopped over at his house, picked him up, grabbed the bows, and decided to hit up the range, and then we hit you up, and you guys happened to be there. So that worked out pretty well.
Flinging some arrows, trying to hit some stuff that we're aiming at.
Yeah, exactly. Chuck and myself are both compound shooters, and then Tony shoots a recurve, and then now Tony's wife shoots a compound as well. So he's like the loner. It's actually pretty comical.
Leston shoots he shoots a longbow, a bear longbow. And I always forget about what that's called. It's not recurve. It's
it's like a little longbow. It's cool though.
It's a longbow, but it has curved in limbs at the end. It's a slight curve. Sorry guys, I don't remember what that's called, but it's a great bow for him. I think it pulls tops at like 25 pounds.
And Leston's how old?
Yeah, 9.
He's 9. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So
he shoots it pretty well. I mean,
he's getting used to it. He likes joking around a lot, so that kind of takes place of it sometimes. But so we got to go up there today and hike around. It's a beautiful place. Like Josh was saying, if you get a chance to be up here. And people that are local. A lot of people local didn't even know about it.
Yeah, they had no idea. I mean, I didn't know about it till, what was it, last year? I think it was last year where they had the Lone Pine 3D shoot that's put on by Flathead Valley Archers. Mm-hmm. And I was like, well, where is this? And they're like, oh, it's at Lone Pine State Park, like up on Lone Pine. And I've heard people say, oh, I'm going to Lone Pine to go hike. And I just thought it was like a cool hiking trail. Yeah. But they actually have targets set up all year long where you can go shoot. And then twice a year, I think, they throw out a 3D shoot. They'll put out like 30 or 40 targets. And you go out there and shoot for fun and score, and they give out little trophies here and there, and depending on if it's a scored event or not, but it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, heck yeah. So we've had a lot of fun out there, and like he was saying, it's free. So anyone that wants to, go ahead and head on up there. Talking to a park ranger actually I saw last time, he said that it's been around for 30 years.
Holy crap!
No idea.
I had no idea.
Like as old as I am. I'm gonna be 30 next month.
God, you're old. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, well, I guess it kind of makes sense if I call the archery range old, and then I'm turning 30. Kind of relates.
Yeah, for sure.
So, well, cool. Yeah, it was a really good day. I shoot. I think I told everyone what I shoot. Now I shoot an SF. It's a win-in-win Sebastian Flute kind of spin-off. The guy Sebastian Flute, as far as what I did my research on, was a Olympic recurve archer. Back in the day. I don't remember what it was. 80s, 90s.
Okay.
Sorry, guys, if I got that wrong. But he designed his own kind of his own line of risers and limbs and all this stuff. So that's what I shoot, is a Sebastian Flute. Cheaper of the recurves, but
you got to start somewhere.
I wanted to try the ILF interchangeable limb fitting system.
Okay, yeah, I remember you telling me about that.
And then I could choose. It's like a takedown, but they just snap in, and it's a little bit sketchy because they just snap back out too.
Yeah,
I mean, there's no tightening of anything. You got a tiller bolt that's more for like accurately changing top to bottom weight on your draw and stuff like that. It's almost getting into the compound side of it.
Right. Yeah, I was gonna say it sounds a lot like when having your pulleys, they have to be timed just right. Like if your timing is off, then your arrow. It's all technical.
Yeah, it releases one side or the other.
Yeah, well, you release high or low, or you release fast or short, or it can be a giant pain in the butt.
Right. Yeah. Well, so I started shooting that and been having a lot of fun with that. And then I shoot Black Eagle arrows as well, the vintage, which I didn't think I'd like, but I do. So that's been really fun. But they are 4 or 5 inch fletchings.
Yeah, 4 inch fletchings.
Man, that catches the wind.
It's terrible.
It kicks like crazy.
Yeah, it's wild. I mean, you have to compensate so much for that wind, even if it's just like a little 5-mile-an-hour gust. I mean, you still have to compensate quite a bit. Getting back to like watching, Olympic archers shoot distance. And you catch the flags like in the corner of the TV screen while you're watching them shoot, or like if you're watching on YouTube or whatever.
Yeah,
I'm blown away like how well those guys can compensate windage. It's insane. Mm-hmm. It's absolutely insane. I mean, most of the stuff that I do, I've shot a lot of outdoor 3D when I was up in New York, which is a blast, but it's not very windy where we were shooting.
Yeah.
And I've shot tons of indoor stuff, the indoor state shoots, indoor 3D tournaments, stuff like that. And, wind is not something you have to really be aware of all the time.
Yeah.
Whereas, outdoor, you really have to be aware of it, and you have to be conscious of it where, where you're standing might be a 1 mile an hour gust, but where the target is a 7. and you got to calculate
crazy.
for that. Yeah, exactly.
So it hits that wall of air.
Right,
and
it
just
pushes
goes,
all
okay,
over
I'm going this way now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Luckily I shoot enough poundage that it helps.
It kind of just blows right through
Yeah,
it.
I get it there a little bit quicker, but...
Yeah. Dude, even John Dudley, he was talking about shooting like 110 yards. He practices at long distance. He practices at 80, 90, 100 yards,
right.
Because he makes a good point of that, if he's shooting at a longer distance and practicing, pulling hundreds of arrows at that distance, it magnifies
how accurate he is
it
at
magnifies
20, 30,
your
40.
mistakes
Absolutely.
by an enormous amount, and you can pinpoint it a lot easier.
Right.
But and then he hits 20, 30, 40 yard targets, X's almost every time.
He's standing on the X.
Because it's just like, well, this is a breeze. I have no problem with that.
Right.
Yeah, but cool. So you don't ever want to shoot traditional ever?
Okay, so
if you're going to talk me into doing compound, I got to talk you into trying to do.
Okay, so here's my reasoning with traditional, right? I was given a handmade hickory longbow. Mm-hmm. This thing is fantastically beautiful. It is the most awesome thing I've ever seen. It was a gift from a friend of mine, Tom. And so I've shot it quite a bit. I shot it with some fletched arrows. I have the biggest problem. I shot compound first. So for me, it's, pull my bow back, anchor, aim, pull through my shot. Mm-hmm. Well, you can't do that with a longbow unless you can hold back. And it's like a 60-pound longbow. So unless you can hold 60-plus pounds back at full draw and anchor, and then you still don't have a sight to aim with.
Yeah.
I have a very difficult time finding my point of aim and point of impact, and getting that variance kind of together. I've shot a couple of recurves. I've shot yours a few times.
Yeah.
And I like it. Yeah. It's just not something that I'm like, I have to do this.
Yeah.
Whereas, with you were like, no, I'm going to shoot recurve.
I'm going to just continue
and I'm going to master
this.
it. Yeah, exactly.
Maybe take on a longbow or not.
But yeah. And I mean, you shoot so much more accurately than I ever have, even just when you were starting out.
Well, I try.
Yeah, that's true.
It's a lot of arrows. It's a lot of like, hey, I'm shooting at that target. Hey, what's that squirrel doing? And then it just goes flying somewhere else instead. Yeah. Very cool. Yeah, well, we have been able to go on a few different 3D shoots, and did the one at Lone Pine.
Yep. Then we did the one at Spirit Quest.
They did two there.
Yeah,
which
two there.
Rep for big,
Spirit Quest Archery here, local in Kalispell, Montana. That's where I bought my bow from. That's where I've gotten all my parts from. That's where Tony got a lot of his parts from.
Yep. Down south of town, south of Kalispell.
South of Kalispell. Kevin and Kim are fantastic.
Yeah.
If you've got archery questions, if they can't answer it, they'll find somebody that can. Mm-hmm. I mean, I've even had it where Kevin called me. He's like, "Hey, I got a guy shooting an elite, and this is what his bow's doing. Can you give me some inside advice on what you've experienced shooting?"
Yeah.
Over the phone, just so he could help a customer out. I mean, he's opened the shop up late before or early to help somebody out. During hunting season, he's opened a ton of extra hours just to make sure that people can get all their stuff ready, if they have an accident or something while they're out shooting and a string gets cut or broken or, a sight falls off or a pin falls out or whatever it could be, the fiber optic gets broken.
Which is how it should be.
Right, yeah.
Just find the question, take care of the customer.
Yeah, exactly. They're fantastic. So a little more PR for Spirit Quest Archery.
Heck yeah. And they do some really good, wrap it up here in a second. Been having fun on this podcast. But yeah, we did a couple 3D shoots there. They do an indoor shoot, and I think it's about 20 targets.
Yeah, 20 targets. I
20
think is
targets.
What they do. And then they always have 3Ds there that you can go and shoot. I think they keep 16 on hand, ready to shoot at all times.
Yeah, you can just pay to shoot it, and they'll pull them out. And if they're not out already, then they'll pull them out.
I think it's like $10, and you can go shoot 16 or 20 targets. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's great. So and then the Lone Pine shoot was pretty good. I thought there was going to be a lot more people.
There was a lot more last year. Was
that just a lack of communication, you think?
Advertising, communication, interest.
All I saw was
people's
word
schedules.
of mouth and a flyer online.
Yeah, it was kind of, I feel like it was last minute. I don't know if it truly was, but that's what it definitely felt that way to me. And like I said, last year was way more people. I mean, there was, I want to say, over 150 people last year, and I think there might have been, 40? If that many this year?
I don't know. I think it was a little bit more. Maybe up to 70, 80, 90 people.
Yeah.
But last year I heard was crazy busy.
It was. I mean, there was like 6 different flights of people, and I mean, like in the freestyle division that I shoot, I think we had 26 shooters, and then the second day we shot again, and the flights change per how you score. So I shot in the men's freestyle for placing. And I think we had 7 shooters in that one alone, not counting like men's bow hunter, not counting women's bow hunter, women's freestyle, traditional, all that kind of stuff. So it was a blast. I love 3D shoots. They're a ton of fun.
Yeah, heck yeah, dude. Well, we've always had fun, and it'll be a lot more to do in the years to come, especially. I want to make sure that we keep going with this and keeping on it. And this podcast is going to continue.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because we have a blast just being able to hang out and stuff, and so we thought we'd bring everyone along.
Yeah, you guys get to listen to our BS stories and all our rantings of fun and debauchery.
Yeah, heck yeah. So cool, guys. Well, was there anything you wanted to address or anything like that, buddy?
No, man. I think this was good. I hope you guys enjoyed the podcast, and stay tuned for more. We're also going to throw some videos up on Tony's Instagram, or Fletched and Loaded. I think is your
Fletched and Loaded. Where can they find you on Instagram, though?
Me on Instagram, I'm terrible.
Inked
I'm
Up
actually
Josh, I think.
Yeah, I think that's what it is too. I'm grabbing my phone right now just to check and see. So bear with me for a second,
and
guys.
The people that don't know him, Inked Up Josh. It's because he is covered in tattoos.
Yeah, it's Inked Up Josh, all lowercase.
Inked Up Josh, all lowercase. Facebook is going to be Josh Williams.
I think
Joshua Williams.
Joshua Williams, yeah.
It has a picture of him in his Army uniform. Did I say that correctly?
Whatever. I'm in some multicams and
multicams.
Yeah, me and my buddy are out shooting. So it's all
I'm
good.
going to be that one guy that's on the other side of the military that doesn't know much. So all you people that don't know very much about guns or any of the Army lingo, military lingo, I'm probably going to ask what that means, so that you guys can get the answer as well.
Yeah, and I'll totally fill you in if I can. If I still remember what it is.
Heck yeah, cool. Well, yeah, guys, you can find me at Fletched and Loaded, all one word, on Instagram. I don't think you can do spacing; it's just like underscores and stuff if you want to space. But Fletched and Loaded on Instagram, Tony Charles Gershon on Facebook, which we'll probably try to figure out to get a different page.
Yeah, I think we should do like
point.
a Facebook page at some point so everybody can kind of stay current. And we'll throw some videos up there, and you guys will get to laugh at us shooting and making a fool of ourselves.
Heck yeah. And then iTunes, you can subscribe, find the episodes at Fletched and Loaded. Just search that on iTunes, or go to the website that we have set up for right now. It's fletchedandloaded.podbean, PODBEAN, podbean.com. So Fletched and Loaded. Yeah. it was a great site. They had some
fantastic.
Good stuff going up.
They hooked us up.
So hit us up on that. Again, I'd like to say thank you to Josh for hanging out. We're going to have a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm stoked.
Next week, we'll probably do another one on Sunday, so we'll see when this releases. And then, again, guys, write in stories, funny stories you had shooting guns, shooting archery.
Questions.
Things you want to say. Yeah, we'll answer them the best we can. We'd just love to be able to communicate and interact with everyone out there. Hit us up on Instagram, Facebook. I do have actually a Gmail, I forgot to tell you, Josh, set up for the podcast. It's fletchedandloaded@gmail.com.
Wow, we're so fancy.
So,
listen to us.
No, look, I'm trying to get all professional and everything. But cool, guys. Well, thank you so much for hanging out with us, listening, and tune in for the next one that's going to be next week sometime.
Yeah, episode 3, so stay tuned.
Yeah, stay tuned for some more Fletched and Loaded. All right, guys, shoot straight.